Hello, everybody. Welcome to what is going to be a relatively quick stream because I've got something to do in about 15 minutes, half an hour, which means it's going to be a fairly short one. However, whilst I am here, we are going to be talking specifically about the news that we got yesterday about Max Wober and about Dan James. So, it's going to be a relatively quick stream, a relatively simple stream, but I kind of want to know what you guys are thinking about everything, so whack your stuff in the comments. And let's go with it. Let's find out a little bit more. Whilst you're here, by the way, if you're fancying it, if you're interested, if you're free on the 20th of July, there are tickets down below for the Leeds Creator Cup. Big old charity match. It'd be fantastic to see as many people there as possible. Kicking off at 1 p.m. Tickets are £7 for adults. It's very, very reasonable. £3 for kids. All of your favourite Leeds content creators playing against each other, raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. It'd be fantastic to see you all there. Anyway, let's get into the big bits of news. The first one is around the sale of Maximilian Wöber. Now, Max Wober is the kind of player that we were kind of interested in when we signed him. We were like, okay, we kind of needed a left back. We've signed Wöber. That's fine, whatever. Turns out that he sort of was a left back at some point, but also a centre back. But he didn't play very much because he showed up for about 6 months in the season we got relegated, if I remember right. I might remember right. I'm not 100% certain. Then pissed off on loan, and then it was last season where he didn't get into the team basically at all. And then a couple of months back, he effectively said, in as many words, I don't want to just rot on a bench in England. And I completely get that from his perspective, but slightly disrespectful to the club, which is why no one is going to be too mad that he is leaving. Now, the specifics of him leaving are that he is going to be going over to the Bundesliga, back where he came from. He spent a little bit of time over in Gladbach, not last season, but the season before last, and had a reasonably fairly good time, I suppose. Didn't get picked up for the following season, but is it Wolfsburg that are after Max Wober now? It might be. I'm just going to triple check that. It's Wolfsburg or it's Werder Bremen. So I'm just going to have to double check it. Werder Bremen, there we go. So that's looking like it'll be for a fairly low fee. 2 to 3 million euro number is what is sort of reportedly being looked at. I'd heard around 4, but that's fair enough. Basically, no matter what, we're going to do what we can to cover the PSR costs because he'll still have a little bit of value left on his contract. If we're able to cover that off, then absolutely fantastic. If we're not, then it'll be one of those cases where it's a small acceptable loss because he's a player that we don't particularly want to keep around, especially when he's sort of adding negativity to the vibes and to the club. So specifically the fact that he's almost constantly been like, yeah, I don't know if I really want to be here, actually. I kind of just want to play for Austria and, I want to leave. So the fact that he's going doesn't make me upset in the slightest. Another sort of adding factor to this is that I would have been a bit more in favour of keeping Max Wober if we were in a situation where we hadn't literally just signed 2 new centre-backs. The fact that we've gotten Bornau in and Biol means that he's not going to get in at centre-back. Currently, our centre-back lineup is Rodon, Strauch, Biol, Bornau. I don't know what order we're putting those in because, honestly, we've not seen Biol and Bornau playing in our system. But Wöber doesn't fit there anymore. He wasn't an especially reassuring left-back anyway, so him leaving isn't a problem for me. Just be gone, out with you. We'll find someone else that can play at left-back. Maybe Simic. No, I'm not going to get into that one again. Beyond that, we have the news around Dan James. So we found out yesterday, I believe, that Dan James was on the brink of signing a 4-year deal. This hasn't been formally announced yet. I don't know when it will be formally announced. I assume maybe today or tomorrow or something. The way that it was phrased in the reporting was that it was incredibly close. It was basically around the corner, and then it would be signed. Potato indeed, the Orange Raider. So I'm a fan of that. If you look at last season and you look at the way that we approached everything, holy, thank you again, Locks, for the 1 gifted membership. Why you keep doing this? I don't understand. But I'm not streaming from OBS this time. I'm streaming from YouTube, which means that it's not going to kick up the... It did in my StreamYard for some reason, but it didn't on the stream, which is quite fun. But that's gone to Baby Zebra Games, which is quite nice. Where was the noise? I only did it for the noise. Jesus, hold on. Share screen. That one. And system audio. Let's hide that and bring it back to my face. Right, okay. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this properly, but let's give it a test, shall we? Let's see how it goes. Where's it gone? It's not on my mini feed. That's not great. Hold on. Sod it. If that was audible, let me know. Anyway, on to the Dan James news. Dan James coming in at a 4-year-ish deal is very, very, very nice because it means that we are now in a position where we don't. I got it. I'm very, very glad. Which means that we've got a player that, admittedly, he does a bit rely on his pace, or at least that was the case relatively early in his Leeds career, but he's developed over the years to be someone that is very, very good at putting in a pinpoint ball. The number of times where he would just put a ball onto someone's head or put in that perfect flashed little low-driven ball that would just power its way across the 6-yard box for a tap-in was delicious. I loved it. And the fact that he's going to be sticking around for even longer makes me incredibly happy because he's one of those players that you sort of want in and around the squad because no matter what, he's going to give 100%. In the playoff final, we're 1-0 down. Dan James gets the ball on the edge of the box, thinks, sod it, no one else is doing the job, fires it as hard as he can, off the crossbar and misses. But then either a couple of minutes before this or a couple of minutes after this, he gets into a situation where he goes for a header against someone significantly bigger than him, and he comes out with something that is genuinely scarred to this day because he cares that much for the badge. And having a player that is that firmly invested is something that you need when you're in Leeds United's position right now. We're in a spot where that constant drive for decent performances week in, week out is what is going to make the difference between staying up and going down again. And I think James is someone who is going to be in that position where he can get that same feeling, that same vibe, that same morale out to the rest of the squad. And I would be genuinely surprised if he didn't do that because that's just sort of who he is, if that makes sense. But I don't know. The entire situation I'm sort of happy with at the moment, as much as this was incredible. So my comment section yesterday on the stream where Sunderland have nicked a couple of our players, the live chat was great. The live chat was lovely. However, in the aftermath, it was just full of Sunderland fans, which I'm okay with. Like, at least they're coming along. They're giving me the views. I appreciate them. Thank you very much, guys. But the amount of sort of, this is copium. I can see you crying. It's like, I'm fine. I've said many, many times that I'm not going to be too critical about the way the window is going until we're nearing the end of the window, because it's a long, long window. It's a hell of a long time. I'm still firmly of the belief that we get all of the business that we want done. We get it done in a timely manner before the season starts. Yeah, they might miss a little bit of pre-season. That's bound to happen because that's how transfers work. Thank you very much, by the way, Jim. I also quite like it. That blue wall is still there. But I had this big boy, which is squad signed shirt of the promotion season, which is very, very nice. And I was like, I kind of want it to go in the setup somewhere. So I figured I'd put it with the Bristol City scarf. And it's quite nice. I enjoy it. Mark says, afternoon, Joe. I feel a big name will settle the base down. It absolutely will do. And I think it needs a little bit of settling right now because people are seeing that Sunderland are doing a bit of business, and it's reasonably good business. I still think they're overpaying for a lot of the players that they're getting in. I still think it's all right enough. But the fact that we're not doing the exact same business at the exact same time seems to be driving a lot of people to think, we're done, we're screwed, game over, we're going down again. And that's not the case. The case is you can take a little bit of time, you can think things through, you don't have to just jump. Because if you do, all you're doing is you're putting more and more pressure on yourselves. You may be signing the wrong people. And it's scary and it's spooky. And I think if we're a little bit more careful with what we're doing, we will firmly end up in a way better place at the end of the season. But some people don't seem to back that, and I don't quite understand it. Gonna have a very quick skim through news now, just see what's been going on. No, that was it. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I've just remembered it was. Is it Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, who plays for Torino in goal? Very, very, very tall boy. Leeds this window so far, it has been a running joke that we are just signing very, very, very tall boys. And it kind of makes sense because, like, you want to be winning your aerial duels, especially when you're a goalkeeper. The lad's 6'8" and is looking for a move away from Torino. I'm not 1,000% sure why he's moving away from Torino. A very quick skim to see as to why that is the case. Apparently, Napoli were having a look at him, but we are now having a look at him. Release clause, which is fairly significant, about 20 million euros, which would be 17-ish million pounds. That I feel is one of those moves that would settle the fan base. So if we got a Milinkovic-Savic or someone along those lines, people are going to be absolutely bouncing that we got a very, very good goalkeeper that is fairly established already. He's got a lot of experience. But B, and this is what I'm going to label the Bellingham effect. People are going to look at him and go, oh, he's related to the other Milinkovic-Savic. That's good. And assume based on that he's like a fantastic player. And to be clear, he is a very, very good footballer. He's an excellent goalkeeper. Just the concern in this situation is what happens when people see that and go, oh, look at his brother. It's not necessarily something that makes a huge amount of sense, I don't think. But people might do that, and if people do that, then that's completely up to them, and that is fine. Anywho, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up to Questions Corner. If anyone has any queries or anything, pop them in the chat. Be happy to answer them, even from Locks. And I know Locks has some wild takes and wilder opinions, and likes an even wilder football club for some reason. But just chuck them in my direction. Be happy to talk them over. Because again, this is not going to be a stream that is as long as the standard. It's going to be about 15, 20 minutes. We'll see when is a sensible time to draw it to a close because we've got a scan, which is going to be quite nice. That's in about an hour, maybe. But I need to get ready for it and stuff. And I need my jeans to be washed because I've gone full work from home right now. I'm not wearing my jeans right now. It's just hanging out with the top half sorted. It's fine. It's all good. Anyway. Right. One final little plug as well for the Leeds Creator Cup. The amount of stuff that I've done on that thing today alone is ridiculous. I've done chasing up on a kit delivery. I've had a very, very long meeting with the production team, which is very exciting. The stuff that we've got potentially coming is very, very fun, and I've been working on a little something on the side. And in addition to all of that, I've been working on a little secret something that a lot of the players won't be aware of, which is especially wonderful. So hopefully everyone enjoys that. But as we're not getting any questions in the chat, I will bring the stream to a close very, very shortly. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please pop a like on the stream. That's really, really helpful. Gets everything pushed out. Anything happening at ER today? Thank you, Michael, for the last minute question. I much appreciate it. Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe anything will get confirmed today, unless it's like the Dan James contract situation. That's the only thing that I can think would realistically happen. Sunderland now buying a left back. Who is Sunderland buying a left back? Hold on, I was closing there and you've kept me going. You cheeky buggers. I can't see anything on Sunderland looking at the left back. No, I don't know what we mean on the Sunderland thing. Anyway, I don't see anything happening for Leeds United specifically today. So that's basically fine. Like I'm happy to take the evening of not doing anything YouTube/Leeds United-y and having a little bit of a chill, which should be okay. But at the end of the day, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on the stream, subscribe if you're not yet. Again, for every subscriber that I've got full time during the charity match, I'll be giving another 1p to Prostate Cancer UK. So if you guys are able to push that to other people as well, you're indirectly giving money to charity via someone else with a single click down here. Be massively appreciated. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed. I will see you later. Toodaloo.